we start to extend. We first reach over and like nurse, and then kind of start moving our head around, and then you get put down as a baby on the bed, and as soon as we're allowed to be on our belly, we start lifting, we start pushing, we start kicking, and so the whole point of our development, like evolutionarily you might say, is to work the extensor muscles so that we can become upright. And so we have a self-preservation instinct to curl into a fetal position. Who knows why? Probably because we spend our whole life 9 months of our life in this comfort zone. And also to protect the viscera. But we don't do nearly enough to work our extensor muscles, most of us. And our whole society is designed to be flexed. We sit all the time, way too much. Posture therapy, Egoscue's method, and I don't really call myself an Egoscue therapist anymore. I am certified by them, but I do PTX therapy. I use their software. I like it better than the Egoscue software. It's all PTX is just posture therapy, X Factor. But it's they don't have a program to certify people, but all the people who are behind that software are Egoscue certified. So that's what I do now. But the whole basis is the same. We have 8 load-bearing joints: the ankles, the knees, the hips, and the shoulders. And gravity is working on us, pulling on us, 24 hours a day, no matter what position we take. So if we're standing upright in good posture, our joints are aligned, and you imagine gravity pulling on you. Okay, that's not too bad. This doesn't feel bad. It's actually good for your body. Now imagine being like this. So gravity's not changing at all. The force is a vertical force. So it's vertical. And I'm like this, it's still vertical. It's now this, my head starts weighing more, a lot more, when it comes forward. And that the muscles start having to work a lot harder. So these 8 load-bearing joints are vertically aligned and horizontally aligned. And some people are like, what? So if this is lower than another, it's no longer vertically aligned. Or if this folds like this, this is no longer horizontally aligned. And if your knee is valgus or varus, sticking roll-legged, the knee joint itself is no longer horizontally aligned. And so posture therapy works to, you look at the whole body, you see what's out of alignment, and you, the first goal is to mitigate whatever symptoms they come in with. So whatever pain they have, what can I do to help relieve the pain as quickly as I can? Then what can I do to reduce the rotation that I see in a person's body? So they might have one hip rotated forward and then the opposite shoulder is pulled back. And the body is so adaptable that when you start to get out of alignment, it's doing all of these very subtle things to bring you back into alignment, including if you're wearing high heels, even the high heels of athletic shoes, you're changing your body's alignment because your muscles have to adjust to that slight elevation. So if you're flat, then all your muscles are aligned, all your joints can be aligned. So like this, now you have to change your pelvic position, you have to change your knee position, your low back, everything changes. So we look at people, and then we do some functional tests. We're going to do just a couple things in a minute. And essentially go for the thing that stands out most to us. So if a person comes in and they're obviously rotated like this, that stands out the most. Okay, what can I do to reduce the rotation in this pelvis? And we give them exercises. There's over 830 exercises in the database. And it depends on what they're capable of doing, whether they can get on the floor, all the things that are going to come into play. But the goal for that one exercise, the first one, is when they finish it, are they pelvis, which means if it's too anterior, like this, then we're going to try to bring it back to neutral. If it's tucked like this, which most of my senior clients are like this, their pelvis is tucked under like this, then we're going to try to get more lumbar curve and get the pelvis back to neutral. The effect of the pelvic position is pretty profound on the rest of the spine. So if the pelvis is really tucked, you're going to end up with a really flat low back. You lose that lumbar curve, which is going to start to pinch the discs more. And then you might also get kyphosis, or rounding in the upper shoulders and forward head posture. You see that a lot in seniors. And then if you have two, they don't really show it here. Yeah, they kind of do. The excessive anterior tilt. So it's going to, anterior tilt's going to kind of make your legs go out and put excessive lumbar curve. And you can't stand like this comfortably, so your body's going to bring your torso forward a little bit. So you end up, just out of alignment. Yeah, there's no more shown here. Oh, and then there's the sway back, which they call it sway back. It's where a lot of people stand, and they stand like this. So their pelvis goes forward on their knees and shoulders. And that puts excessive strain on the low back. And especially where the L5, lumbar 5, meets the sacrum. This is the sacrum here, this little triangle. And this is L5, the biggest lumbar spine. The entire weight of your body is on that joint, essentially. Okay? So when that starts to go or have a problem, it can be really problematic. If there's any rotation in your pelvis or your SI joint, it can be really uncomfortable. Okay? So I'm going to ask you guys to all do something. I want you to put all your paperwork down. I want you to sit in your chair and slouch. I want you to just slouch over, let your hands hang by your side. Actually, put your hands in your lap, palms down. You're not slouching enough.
I looked up at you.
Yeah.
Everyone's slouching.
And now I want you to try to raise your hands up in front of you. Straighten your arms out and raise them. Try to raise them. Oh, yep. Well, both of them. Can't raise them very far, can you? Doesn't feel good. Now, bring them back and stay slouched and raise them out to the side. Don't do it if it hurts your shoulders. Oh, look at her. She has hypermobile joints. Okay. So now, still seated, sit up straight, put your arms down. Come to the edge of the chair. Think about rolling your pelvis forward like this on your chair. So you're sitting on your seat bones, little arch in your back. Put your hands in your lap again. Put them palms up this time. Now lift your arms up overhead. Stays. So I want you to sit up. Put an arch in your back. So there, like that. Yeah. Can you lift your arms farther than you could before? Does it feel better? Okay, that's just one demonstration that you have more shoulder mobility when you actually change the position of your pelvis. Put an arch in your low back. So now do it to the side. Keep that arch in your low back and raise your arms up out to the side. And see if you can go all the way up. Yeah? Don't hurt yourself though. Yeah. So those are just two demonstrations about ways that you can. So if you become more conscientious about your pelvic position, because as soon as you change your pelvic position, you put extension in your lower back, it extends your upper back, it brings your scapula closer together, and allows for more movement. So that's the first thing that you can do to help yourself at home, or sitting in your car, or whatever it is you do. So now stand up. You can spread out a little if you want. I want you to do the same thing. I want you to slouch, just act, let pelvis tuck under, slouch, and raise your arms over your head. And feel if there's any restriction, and then bring them back down to raise them out to the side, and stay slouched. Shouldn't be, yeah. Can you lift them very high? Not very high, can you? So now, stand up straight. Think about putting an arch in your back, tilting your pelvis. Don't let your pelvis fall forward. Just change the dynamic of that. And now raise your arms forward. Can you raise them higher? And then out to the side. Can you raise them higher? Feel better? Anybody want to answer me?
Yes.
Okay, rhetorical. So bring them back. Now I want you to make your feet as pigeon-toed as they will go. Think about standing up straight. And do the same thing. Bring your arms forward, all the way up. Far as they'll go, and then out to the side. Notice any difference? Is it better? You don't notice any difference?
I don't.
Okay. Anybody notice any difference? No. Okay. Most of the time, well, maybe you guys all have a fairly decent pelvis. Most of the time, this actually helps improve shoulder function. It forces that extension in this one. Okay, so now go ahead and sit in your chairs. You guys can spread out a little. Move your chairs out a little bit. How many more? 2, 3?
1, 2, 3. 3. Oh, very nice thank you.
Okay, I need to borrow this chair. Can you move on the chairs now? So you're going to sit in your chair. So actually, take note of how you feel right now. Like, just your whole body. Do you feel okay? Does it any particular pains? Just take note of how, especially your shoulders feel. And I don't expect miracles here. These are just this is a set of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 exercises that are given. They're out of PTX's pain-free book for restricted shoulder movement. So if you have a lot of pain, like I know you have some pain, there's one that you won't do. I'll give you something else. And the idea is that I'm not paying attention to your posture per se, so this is not customized to your issues. It's just a way to help essentially realign the body for the most optimum shoulder movement. And it may or may not work for you. So put the block between your knees, and you can put it either this way or this way. Sit up straight. So think about tilting your pelvis forward as much as you can get a tilt in your pelvis. It might feel a little pinchy in your low back if you're not used to it. Don't let your upper body slouch at all. You can bring your shoulder blades together as much as they'll go. Rest your hands, palms up on your lap, and squeeze and release. Squeeze and release. Put it between your knees. Squeeze and release. 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 We're going to do this 3 sets of 20. Squeeze and release. Squeeze and release. Squeeze and release. squeeze. Notice, can you count for me? That was like 10, 12.
Okay.
Count for me.
Okay.
3 sets of 20. Let's rest after 20.
Squeeze, release, squeeze, release.
So they can do it. I just want you to just tell us when to rest. Take note of whether one side is, if you feel any differences between the two sides of your legs.
That's probably 20.
Yeah, let's take a break.
There.
You take the block out and rest a moment. So you might feel one side wants to initiate, one side is stronger, one side might be kind of cramping up. So this means there's a disparity between the inner thigh muscles, your adductors. That's going to affect your pelvic position and your ability to hold a pelvic position. One side is not equal. So put the block between your knees again. Keep your feet pointed straight.
Pelvis
And pelvic, yeah. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Put your hands on your lap, palms up. Squeeze, release. You count. Thank you. Squeeze, release. So put the block between your knees, Chris. It's not up into your thighs. Yeah, let it come out. There you go. Squeeze, release. And Jessica, make yours on the wide side yeah. Squeeze, release. Squeeze, release.
That's 10.
Squeeze, release. Thank you. Squeeze, release. Also, pay attention if your abdomen's trying to get involved or your glute muscles. They shouldn't have to work at all. This is all the inner thigh muscles. If they're working, it means the inner thigh muscles are saying, I don't know if I can do this. Can you help?
Remember to squeeze your shoulder blades
Squeeze
together.
your
I always
blades
forget
together.
that part.
Sit upright and look straight ahead.
And that's 20.
Take a break. Anyone having any issues doing this? Feeling tired? Feeling like it's too much work? You can make your block narrower. Yeah. Thank you.
Was that a yes? Karen?
Yes.
What's happening?
Tired.
Tell me.
Yeah. Inner thighs tired? Getting
Mhm.
tired? Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
There's a muscle kind of in the groin line or something that is one side.
Yeah.
is pulling.
Yeah. That's an adductor. It's the connection to the femur. Okay. If it pulls in, if it hurts, you can take a little break. Okay. But if it's just like working for the machine, bring your feet a little closer together. Okay. Another set. Squeeze, release, squeeze, release, squeeze, release, squeeze, release. Shoulder blades together. Good job. So don't hold it too long. Just squeeze, release.
It's 10.
Squeeze, release. Yeah, and if you feel yourself lifting out of your chair a little bit, it means your glutes are getting involved. They don't need to be involved. Okay? It should be a very quiet move. Only thing working are these and a little bit of the TFL.
That's 20.
Okay? Take a break. So now, let's see. You won't be able to do this, so I'll give you something else. I should have had mats out sooner. We're going to all get on a mat. Roll a mat out for yourself. And anyone who has really bad shoulders, you might not be able to do this, but let's see. Yeah, just make room for yourself. You're going to be on your hands and knees. Come on. So, honey, don't do it. You can just sit down for a minute. I'll talk to you later. So, wrists directly under your shoulders and your knees directly under your hips. So you need to move your knees forward, closer to your feet. Yep. Okay, and now step your hands forward about 4 or 6 inches. Okay? And now put your elbows where your hands are.
Huh?
Yep.
Oh.
Yep. And put your forearms on the ground and put your palms up. And act like you're trying to separate your forearms. Leave your elbows where they are, but try as if somebody's pulling your forearms away from each other. Allow your low back to sink towards the floor and allow your head to drop to the floor. And just relax in this position. You're putting your entire spine into extension. Okay? So you can come back just a little bit and let all this drop towards the floor. Let this collapse. Yes. 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 That's good. That's good. So can you let that drop towards the floor? Good. Okay. Looks good. Pull back just a little and let this drop towards the floor. There you go. Let your head rest down. Looks good. Can you drop any more there? No? Oh, honey, you got some work to do. 10 more seconds, guys. Let your head rest down. Does that hurt your head?
No, it hurts the back, so not
Where
bad,
is
not
it
bad.
hurting?
Just
So let all this collapse down. Is that hurting?
make you feel it, yeah, it's all right.
Okay, come on up. Everybody okay? Get up, walk around for a moment. Okay, let's see. I'm going to slide some of these closer to us. I want everybody to be able to sit against the wall next. So, here's here. Yeah. You can move that tower thing, just slide it over.